So today we're doing time zones. So time zones are all determined by the meridians of longitude. So longitude is what you'll be looking at when you're talking about time. So just what you probably the best thing to remember as well is that when you have you've got your world, and with the world, so if you've got so say that's obviously north, south, east, west. So we have the sun rises in the east and goes to the west, okay? So all the countries in the east, so the further east you are, you get the sunlight first, okay? Further east you are, you get the sunrise first or whatever, yeah? So if you're more west, then you'll get the sunset. You're the last one to see the sun set down in the day. So also, so remembering that, so we're in the east. So a way to remember it is obviously Australia's in the east, and so is like New Zealand. If you remember the New Year's Eve, we have New Year's Eve before all Europe and all that, don't we? Yes. So when you see on the news, you see Australia's already had it, and then you're seeing all the rest of the countries. So remember that, because that little fact might help you. Now, to work out the time difference, so you get a few questions on working out what's the time difference between two places. You just simply look at the difference in their longitudes. So remember, longitudes have the east and west thing with them. So you're going to look at, so if there's 15 degrees difference in longitude, there's a 1 hour time difference. So if, say for example, if I had a country that was, I'm just going to be an example. So say they were on 0 degrees east, so they're on the thing, and then you had maybe a country that was on 20 degrees west. So see how there's 20 degree, I'll just make it 15. Oops, sorry. So say I said it's 15 degrees west. So there's a 1 hour difference between them. So if it's 9 a.m. here, 1 hour difference. Remember, east, they got the sun first, so they're ahead in the day. Okay, so if it's 1 hour ahead, this guy is 8 a.m. Does that make sense? Because it's 15 degrees. So the further east you are, the more ahead in the day you are. So you can work that out, yeah? So that's how it goes. So let's have a look at one of this question here. And it says that Singapore is located at 1 degree north and 104 degrees east. So if this is obviously a time zone question, we're just looking at that one. And it said Sydney is located at 34 south, but 151 degrees east. So Sydney is ahead of time than Singapore, okay? And if you look, we want to know the difference. So they've worked out down here, they said 151 minus 104, so there's 47 degrees difference. So they divided that by 15, because 15 degrees is an hour, and they came up with roughly there's 3 hours difference. Sydney's 3 hours ahead. So just to put an example underneath, so because Sydney, and I'm going to write because they're 151 east, if they were at I'm going to say if they were at 10 p.m. in the day, Singapore, which is 104 east. So if we're going to say they're roughly 3 hours ahead, we're going to say, what are we going to say? They're 7 p.m. on the same day, isn't it? They're behind, okay? So is this making sense? So the further east you are, you're ahead in the day. All right, so a couple of different questions up here, and I've done the exam and I've highlighted it and shown you the examples. So I'll leave this up in a minute so you can do it. So if we look at this question 4, all towns in state of Victoria are in the same time zone, and that is true. We all follow the same clock. But Malakuta has a longitude of 150 degrees east, and Portland has 142 degrees east. The two coastal towns are in the state of Victoria. One day in January, the sun rose in Malakuta at 6:03 a.m. So even though we're on the same time clock, we're not behind. The town that's further east is going to see the sunrise before the other town, yeah? So you could call them and go, I can see the sun, and you go, oh, it's still dark here, yeah? So assuming there's 15 degrees, that they're going to state that. So if you have a look, I've worked out there's about 8 degrees difference between the two of them. So I'm going to say that's about roughly half of 15. So it's a 30 minutes difference. Now, Malakuta is further east. Now, if the sun rised at 6:03, then the other town that's less east, they are going to be that half an hour behind in seeing the sun come. So what's the answer? E. Can you see that? Because they come after. All right? It's pretty easy, and I found the kids get it, because if you can just remember east, Melbourne's east, and then if they ask you another country, think of the New Year's Eve thing.
Wait, Miss, 3.
Okay, so with question 3, the locations of 4 cities are given below, and there they are. We can see them. It says, in which order from first to last will the sun rise in these cities on New Year's Day? So more east is first, and then as you go along. So you can see 139 is the biggest east. Now the next ones are west. So if you think of the world, you're out here, and then you start going out that way. That's 0 and getting more west. So the smaller west gets the sunrise next. So there's the one, then we had another east, and then it would be this one because the west. And the more west is the last one to get that. So you have to do, that would be that one. Okay, and then in question 5, on the first day in June 2019, the city of St. Petersburg, Russia, which is 60 degrees north but 30 degrees east, the sun is expected to rise at 3:48 a.m. On the same day, the sun is expected to rise in Helsinki, Finland, which is 25 degrees east approximately. So it's about, there's a 5 degrees difference. So we're going to say that's about a third of an hour, which is 20 minutes. So there's a 20-minute difference. Now, the sun must have rose in Russia first because it's further east. So they said the sun rose at 3:48 a.m. So I'm going to add 20 minutes to that, or say 20 minutes later when it's less east is that other country. What is it? Helsinki. All right? So it's not too hard.